Hey, it's Kane Smead from UTV Action and Dirt Wheels Magazine. Finally, we're getting to put some seat time in the new Can-Am Maverick R. I'm gonna do a little walk around before I take off. So there's that crazy futuristic suspension. Well, it's actually not very futuristic. The design's been around a long time, but first time we've seen it on a side-by-side. New front diff. It's stronger than the old Smart Lock. New rack. It doesn't rotate anymore. The steering box is the same. Those A-arms are definitely stronger than the old one. Bigger, beefier CVs all the way around. Still has a radiator up front. We'll go to the back. So air filter right here, easy to access. Then there's the bed area, which is pretty high. It's better than the old one. You can fit a tire across the top there if you don't want to buy a tire rack, which is nice. And then we want to show you the mud scrapers. This is what they're using for mud, to rock deflectors, mud scrapers, keep rocks out of the wheel. Then there's another piece in here, and then this metal mud scraper. So it's like a three-part deal. These are unitized hubs, front and back. Okay, now we're gonna act like Can-Am race car drivers and go drive this on the Vegas to Reno off-road course. We'll let you know what we think when we're all done at the end of the day. All right, let's talk about the suspension first. The knuckles, they're not distracting. They're not, you don't see them except every once in a while when you hit a big bump and they come up through the hood. And it kind of reminds you where the front tire is and where the center of the tire is, because it is a wide car. And it's good to know that every once in a while. So not distracting at all. The action of them is excellent. It's nearly perfect. It really shows the big improvement over the X3. It just feels plush, it feels solid, it feels forgiving. We played around with the different modes of the suspension. Unless we knew the trail, we knew it was rough, we left it in comfort or the middle setting. Let's talk about the engine. It's great. I mean, there's zero turbo lag, there's tons of power, in the normal mode, and then you bump it up into sport mode, and then, holy cow, hold on, it's super powerful, and, put your head back in the seat. It doesn't spin the tires wildly, which we were surprised. It hooks up and goes. You throw it in the Sport Plus mode, and if you're on a gravel road, yeah, it's gonna spit rocks a mile behind you. It's so fast. We'll save that one for the dunes or maybe a long uphill sand wash or something. Other than that, it's just the power is it's not unusable, but it's just way more than you need, that's for sure. Let's talk about the interior. Seating position, we had it all the way tilted back, so high in the front, low in the back. The hood is definitely shorter than before, so you could see out, very nice. Like I said, you can't see that suspension coming up through the hood very much. The dead pedal where the driver's left foot is way out there, so you're not cramping up your knee or your thigh all day. We had a 6'5" photographer in the right seat, and his knees they had about 3 inches of leg room left, so plenty of room for a big guy. It's not as roomy as, say, a Kawasaki, but it's not cramped whatsoever. It's plenty of room there. The intake noise is almost non-existent compared to the X3. You don't hear any revving, you don't hear any clicking of the transmission. It's weird, you actually feel some of the clicking of the transmission in your gas pedal every once in a while at lower RPMs. Yeah, let's talk about that transmission. It's almost seamless. You don't really even feel it shift. If you're in manual mode, it does kind of fall on its face if you don't shift early enough. It doesn't give like a huge rev limiter that you hear. It just kind of mellows out the power, a lot, and it alerts you to shift. But just like the other paddle shifters and auto shifters out there, you leave it in auto mode, that computer knows way more than you do, and it knows where the power's at, it knows where the traction's at. So we definitely preferred the auto mode, and we just downshifted every once in a while using the paddle if we needed it, or upshifted if we wanted to kind of get on it before the computer realized it. It was kind of weird that in first gear, you couldn't shift out of first gear until you were going 10 miles an hour. So sometimes we like to coast, shift it into second or third gear without any engine braking. It didn't seem to want to do that, but it wasn't a big deal. Speaking of engine braking, that wasn't really, it was there, but it didn't come on unexpectedly. When you downshifted, you had a little bit, but not a lot. The computer really prevents you from downshifting too much. It'll keep it in a gear that it wants to be in versus letting you downshift too much. So yeah, if we were going to buy one, I mean there's nothing wrong with the base model. I mean, the complications of doing all of the shock tuning, the engine modes, the power steering modes, the differential modes, it's almost overwhelming. So if you had the base model for the 35 grand, I wouldn't miss any of that stuff. I would put a roof on it, on the base model, and go drive it. I mean, sure, the XRS and the Smart Shocks were great, but I would rather spend 10, 15 grand on gas and actually go riding more often. So Can-Am did everything right with this machine. It really is light years ahead of the X3 as far as fit, finish, seems like quality, power, traction, comfort. It's really going to put a hurt on the competition. Not having to worry about belts, having that fun transmission. I don't see why you'd buy anything else if you were in this price range. There's really no other choice, for a 2-seat model. If you want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe, and go ahead and leave us a comment if you want to. Thank you.